Welcome to one of the world's most extraordinary cities and territories. Darwin, deep inside the tropics, serves as capital for Australia's diverse and intriguing Northern Territory. This modest metropolis, full of colour and life, is just the place to begin a journey through the Northern Territory from the top to the rock.
This is a land of stories and beauty with a wealth of culture and location for all manner of experiences amid landscapes sculpted by time and the elements. In the course of 10 days, I want to dig deep into the nature and humanity of the territory, beginning in the top end, discovering modern cuisine plus ancient art in spectacular surroundings and getting close to the creatures that call it home. The state capital, Darwin, is my starting point and gateway to two national parks, Litchfield and Kakadu. The main artery of the Northern Territory is the Stuart Highway, and I'll spend time in the area around Katherine, where the top end meets the outback. Then I'll head for the Red Centre, beginning in Alice Springs, the main community, and venturing west alongside the McDonald Ranges as far as Wataka National Park and Kings Canyon. Journey's End, Uluru, justly celebrated around the world and a profoundly significant location for the Aboriginal people, the Arnangu. But there's a vast amount to pack in on the way to this iconic rock, starting with touchdown.
Darwin International Airport is the gateway to Australia's tropical north. It's also the closest Australian capital to Europe. Compared with other international entry points to Australia, formalities here are swift and efficient. The warmth wraps around you. Climatically as well as geographically, Darwin is closer to Southeast Asia than it is to other Australian capitals. And in terms of beaches, Bali's a lot nearer than Bondi.
The Adina Apartment Hotel is a welcome addition to the city's accommodation options, especially for the view from the balcony.
Looking south into the vast natural harbour of Port Darwin. The facilities in the Adina are so good that you could shop in the local markets and then cook for yourself. But Darwin is such a gourmet gateway that I'm determined to make the most of the city's restaurants. And one of the most appetising adventures is the Darwin Gourmet Tour. Christine Bond leads gastronomic expeditions around the city's most innovative restaurants.
Darwin, or the Northern Territory, has fabulous produce, from Asian vegetables and fruits and herbs, down to our fish and our lovely cattle, buffaloes. You can get buffalo mozzarella here.
The gourmet tour begins right here on the waterfront at Snapper Rocks, where the speciality is snapper.
We cook this one in a charcoal oven for 15 minutes, and we serve the whole like this, we are supposed to be, and we are really proud with our Northern Territory products because this is a local, and we try to focus more locals.
At the next stop, Ella by Minoli, delicious dishes inspired by Sri Lankan street food come with some celebrity stardust attached. The chef is Minoli De Silva, star of Australian MasterChef.
Well, my mum visited recently and she was so happy when she went to the market because she found the same ingredients that she normally cooks with. It's perfect for my type of cuisine because I love, barramundi, everything that the Northern Territory gives, but it's also got the fresh produce that allows me to play around with Sri Lankan flavours a bit.
At Fat Mango, the local seasonal produce is complemented by speciality beers.
Do you know that the got a beer here, that's all about 4:21, that's knock-off time for public servants, and RDO, rostered day off.
Any day off is a joy in Darwin, with ancient culture, a dramatic 20th century history and a 21st century art scene.
Look at this mural. absolutely startling, and it's just part of the amazing street art here in Darwin. Darwin is built on the land of the Larrakia people, one of 500 nations making up Aboriginal Australia, the oldest continuous living culture on Earth. And this is a mural by the Larrakia artist Denise Quall.
In the past few years, local and international artists have brightened many of the city centre walls. You can even bring the art to life using the Darwin Street Art Festival app, which gives you some extraordinary augmented reality. Darwin looks a thoroughly modern capital due to an extreme weather event half a century ago.
The city is named after the naturalist and father of the theory of evolution, Charles Darwin, but it was originally known as Palmerston.
And this was Palmerston Town Hall. It's one of very few buildings in Darwin built before 1974 of which anything survives. Across the road, all that remains of the original Anglican cathedral is the entrance. The reason? Overnight on Christmas Eve 1974, Cyclone Tracy brought destruction to Darwin. You can find out more at the Museum and Art Gallery of the Northern Territory, or Magnet for short, whose curator of territory history is Jared Archibald.
People want to remember Cyclone Tracy because it is such a big part of of Darwin's history and the Northern Territory history and Australian history. But we want to remember it as something that, although it was awful, goods come from it. The community that got together to rebuild the city. Yeah, it's just a wonderful place to be.
Magnet tells the story of the culture and nature of the Northern Territory through some jaw-dropping exhibits. Just makes me want to see the real thing. When you really can't wait to get to the great outdoors, Damien has an airborne solution for you. The Resort and Swim Tour.
Damien Jowett isn't just a superb pilot, he also bestows the gift of time, taking you to the key locations in the Darwin region in a matter of minutes.
First stop, Crab Claw Island Resort.
If you're seeking a secret tropical hideaway, Crab Claw, washed by the waters of Bino Harbour, could be the answer.
I'm now spoilt for all future day trips to the beach. There was no problems with traffic getting here.
Litchfield National Park covers 1,500 square kilometres and encloses much of the tabletop range. Aboriginal people have lived in this mosaic of natural beauty for thousands of years.
Damien has just landed his helicopter on a sandstone platform here in Litchfield National Park at Sandy Creek. It's such a romantic spot that a lot of people fly in and propose to their loved one. Well, I propose to go for a swim.
In the cool, sparkling, clean water of this natural pool, you feel you're floating through time. Of course, wherever you are in the Northern Territory, always seek local advice about places that are safe to swim before you jump in.
Final stop, this gorgeous freshwater lake, which was created half a century ago. A local landowner decided that he needed to make a place to escape. His name, George Bennett, and he called the lake Lake Bennett. Why not?
Besides kayaking, you can also swim, fish and camp here, and the lake has another benefit: irrigating mango plantations in the area. Many other helicopter tours are available, including a pub crawl, but I've got an appointment as the sun goes down.
Approaching sunset, the place to be is Mindle Beach, where Darwin's multicultural magic is most in evidence. Every Thursday and Sunday from April to October, more than 200 stalls dispense unique crafts and cuisine. This looks lovely. May I please have watermelon, mango and papaya, which I think you may call pawpaw. The taste of the tropics. Here I am at Mick's Whips with Mick, who has the whips. How's the whip business, Mick?
G'day Simon, yeah, it's in one hand, out the other, and have a little bit of fun along the way. That's our philosophy.
If you wait until after dark, Mick puts on a spectacular show. Strictly come whipping if you like. Anyway, I must crack on. I'm hungry.
So far I've counted Thai, Korean, Japanese, Spanish, Italian, all kinds of cuisines here. But a favourite in Darwin is laksa, a gorgeous Southeast Asian soup with whatever you want in it. And I'm told that here the speciality is barbecue pork.
Right, barbecue pork.
Now come and have a look at the restaurant. Sunrise and sunset provide a natural rhythm to life in the tropics. Since I first came to Darwin in the 20th century, yes, I was very young, thank you, I've been so thrilled to see how the city has evolved. As Charles Darwin didn't quite say, Darwin is a natural selection.
I'm on my way to Australia's largest national park, Kakadu, 3 hours east of Darwin on the Arnhem Highway, with towering roadside attractions along the way.
What strange creation is this? You might imagine it was sculpted by nature over millions of years. In fact, it was made by millions of termites. Monuments like this to the power of small creatures punctuate the top end of the Northern Territory. Kakadu National Park is the same size as the entire nation of Wales, 20,000 square kilometres, and it's one of the rare places that appears twice on the UNESCO World Heritage List, 1 for ecology, 2 for culture.
And 3, comfort. This is the Indigenous-owned Cooinda Lodge.
What a lovely way to enjoy the late afternoon sunshine with a cup of tea in Cooinda Lodge.
A simple space beautifully presented.
If you're staying at Cooinda Lodge, you've got a choice of exactly one dinner venue. Fortunately, it's very good. Mimi's Restaurant, where I have the tasting menu prepared by Mick. What have we got here, Mick?
Okay Simon, so today we have the barramundi on the paper bark, we have a bush tomato chutney, we have the kangaroo with a native pepper, we have the mango and native mint chutney, the buffalo and the crocodile dun and lemon myrtle. The best that the territory has to offer.
So, all the best from land and water.
Since Kakadu was designated as a national park in 1980, sustainable tourism has involved the traditional custodians of the land who provide information and inspiration for visitors, especially at rock art sites, of which Kakadu National Park has around 5,000.
My name's James, I'm a local binning man here and I'm taking you around this barongoi site, Unbungbung Shelter, and showing you some of the rock art here today.
In conventional art galleries, works are displayed outside their original context. Here in Kakadu National Park, you encounter rock art where it was created.
A lot of people, they, as yourself, come here and they want to see some really impressive artwork, and for us this is our kind of most valued and most important site that we have in this area that's open to the public, and it tells a really important story about one of our kinship systems and who we can and can't marry.
Much of the rock art was created in shelters where people have lived for millennia.
This specific shelter, which we're standing in here, was used for at least 20,000 years.
This spectacular landscape has inspired a million stories which are reflected in the rock art of extraordinary antiquity. And yet this is a living, evolving culture at one with nature.
Time to explore the land and water that provided the artists with their inspiration. Nature has embroidered Kakadu with rivers, creeks and billabongs. That means trapped bodies of water. The most celebrated wetland in Kakadu is a billabong named Yellow Water on the doorstep of Cooinda Lodge, and the indigenous owners offer 2-hour cruises that place you at the heart of the ecosystem. Here's Mandy Muir, Senior Custodian.
Our clan is referred to as the Gabo people, which means green ants. Yep, but this is our backyard. I live upstream from here, where I've lived all my life. And yeah, so it's great. Wetlands have the most abundance of food source that we still love to eat quite a lot of.
The crocodile has been the apex predator around here, top of the food chain for 100 million years or so. And there's one right in front of me. I'm staring prehistory in the face, or the jaws.
As we've grown up in this environment, there's been a lot of knowledge passed down into, knowing what to look for when crocs are lurking about. When the landscape's happy, the rest of us are happy.
1 in 3 bird species in Australia is found in Kakadu National Park. These delicate creatures are known as Jesus birds because of their ability to walk on water, or at least on lily pads.
Life reduced to its most basic elements of land, water and sky. There is such a profusion of flora and fauna here in Kakadu National Park, and all in the care of the world's oldest continuous living culture.
The first game-changing rail project of the 21st century anywhere in the world was the line connecting the top end of Australia's Northern Territory to the Red Centre, with a new station along the way in the fine and friendly town of Katherine.
This luxury train is known as the GAN, after the Afghan camel drivers who helped open up outback Australia. In 2004, it started carrying passengers between Darwin and Alice Springs and immediately became one of the world's great rail trips.
The train is typically an impressive 880 metres long and averages 80 kilometres an hour.
All the meals and drinks on board are included in the price, and you can dine here in the Queen Adelaide restaurant.
At key locations, including Katherine, passengers leave the GAN to explore the surroundings. A good time to talk to Deb Munn, Service Operations Manager.
People save up for a long time to travel on the GAN to see their experiences, and they get their expectations. Is a wonderful thing to see. I think it has a part in Australian history because it forged through the centre of Australia, and it opened up the outback, especially Alice Springs, going back in the early part of the 1900s, and then through to Darwin in 2004, and I was part of that in the inaugural journey, so that was pretty special.
Katherine is where the tropics meet the outback, and it's time for me to indulge in 3 Northern Territory rituals. Starting at the town's free-to-enter hot springs.
Elements of the hot springs remind me of the UK Centre Parks concept, only warmer, more natural, less crowded and costing not a cent.
That's the first time I've cooled off in a hot spring. Northern Territory is full of surprises. For my second experience, I'm hoping to be immersed in Aboriginal culture. Australia's First Nations people have much to share with the world.
An Aboriginal elder, Manuel Pamkal, is teaching me about some skills that have sustained the world's oldest continuous living culture.
Fire is a really important element of Aboriginal culture. Unbelievably, Manuel is showing me how they create fire from pieces of wood, a bit of sand and some dried grass. Right, so these embers of wood.
Yeah, put them in the grass like this.
Oh, I am just astonished. In a few minutes, we have gone from the basics of wood and sand and grass to that most fundamental human creation, fire.
Fire from language, Myanmar.
Next, time for a musical interlude.
The didge in Top Didge is short for didgeridoo.
Like this, look. Son. Yeah, let's make the drum.
It's all about the resonance.
Hunting is another fundamental for Aboriginal people. This inspired design enhances the power of the hunter when throwing a spear.
Okay. I'm gonna try get this echidna. Good talk, other one.
Okay, so we're going for the echidna.
Yeah, okay, like this.
Oh!
Alright.
No actual echidnas were harmed in the making of this film. Can I have a go?
Yeah, you can have a go, yeah.
Oh, how did I do that? I might survive for a day or two in the outback.
Yep, look at that, that's good.
But I'm going to stick with Manuel. For my third and final experience in the area, I followed the Catherine River to Cicada Lodge. It's the base for exploring a geological wonder and a good location to gather your thoughts. Oh, hello and welcome to Cicada Lodge. Quite the place to stay when you are planning a Nitmiluk Gorge experience. And how did it get the name? As soon as you open the door, the noise of cicadas, these cousins of the grasshopper, is deafening. I'm so excited about this. I'm about to step aboard the Nabilil Sunset Cruise with dinner.
Seeing the gorge from water level provides a whole new dimension on the natural beauty. Cliffs come to life in the ever-changing light, shifting shapes and shadows. Nitmiluk is the name given by the Darwin people. The Europeans called it Catherine Gorge.
You might be thinking, what sort of cruise is this he's having to walk? Well, that's because there's parts of the river where the rocks are piled up so much that you simply couldn't get a boat through. So we're having to switch vessels to get past those obstructions. It really adds to the experience.
So far we've been dining out on the spectacular interaction of land and water. Time for some sustenance.
Ho, ho, ho.
Hey, welcome on board.
Thank you so much.
No worries.
Sparkling and cool. No, not me.
Yes, it's gastronomy on the go. You dine on freshly cooked local produce as you glide through spectacular scenery towards the setting sun. Celebrate your good fortune with other lucky guests, or just let yourself be smitten by natural beauty.
This might look like the height of indulgence, and indeed it is, but spending time in and around Catherine and Nitmiluk National Park is also about enlightenment and inspiration. The deeper you venture into the Northern Territory, the richer your experience becomes.